Well, hello, diary listeners. Happy Saturday. I'm going to be putting this out probably as soon as I publish it and get it ready. I'm very sorry that I guess I don't really owe you guys an apology just so much as that I have been I'm kind of frustrating myself at this point because I have wanted to update everybody on how things have gone post-op. And there's been just so much, guys. So much. And to put it in words has been a struggle. If you're following my stories at all, I've just been kind of like going ham on sharing messages and little insights, God winks, things that motivate me and drive me throughout the day. But that's just been how I've been able to process, I guess, lately. This episode, the name itself, I even struggled with. I was like, do I call it answered prayer? Do I call it healing? Do I call it, there are so many different names. But as I sat here and right before I started recording, I decided to call it Giving It to God, because that's basically back to front to back, what I could call it. Welcome to the Apprenticeship Diaries, where raw meets refined.
Let's be real, we're still working on refining.
What it took, what it takes, and the stories that are made.
Join us as we learn from professionals about how their stories begin.
Which reminds me of another kind of neat thing. I'm going to go on a very quick side tangent, but the name Bob is very important to me. It comes up a lot. I've done a Bob tattoo. The word Bob, B-O-B, the same coming in as it is going, Alpha and Omega, it is the beginning and the end with an O in the middle. And it's just, I've done one on an inner lip of a tattoo, an inner lip tattoo. And it's still kind of there. One of the B's is kind of more lowercase now than all uppercase. But I had a little kitten that I tried to save way back. As you guys know, I lost both my babies this past year. And one of them, Massey, was 20. And she was a product of a time when I really had no business adopting any dependence. I was still living in my parents' home. Actually, I had come back from living in my going off, doing Amy nonsense, learning a lot, getting experience in tattooing. I had my first tattoo apprenticeship in that time, having the worst relationship of my life, coming back and finding this litter of kittens. And Bob, that's what I named him. I believe, I don't know. These were feral cats, and by all accounts, I was not encouraged to try to rescue them. Let's just put it that way. And so, spending a lot of money on these kittens was not really an option. It wasn't really even anything I could do. I didn't have the finances to do it. I guess I could have found a rescue, but Bob had, I think, kitty downs, and then something that wouldn't allow him to eat. So the poor little deer, unfortunately, starved to death, but he wasn't outside. He didn't get killed by any random predators. He didn't get eaten. He wasn't attacked with parasites or anything like that. By the end, he was, I'm going to silence my phone, sorry. He was warm. He was warm when he passed, and he was held, because actually he passed away in my hands. And it was, I mean, I don't have any reference. I don't have any business talking about things in terms of motherhood, because I've never actually birthed a baby and gone through all that, which, by the way, would have been a hell of an experience to go into this surgery with. I think it would have prepared me for a lot. I think it would have, I don't know. I think it would have just strengthened me in those things that were fearful in me, and I would have been more prepared. But it was, I think God in so many ways is like, okay, you chose not to be a mother, but you are a mother. You create all the things. You have this in you. You want to nurture. You want to do, okay, you don't want a baby of your own, but I'm going to give you a lot of things to mother, and it's in you. It's something you want to do. So, I mean, it's true, fam. I do. I just have always, I don't know, felt like my life is not an environment for children, and I've always struggled so much in my own way that I just thought that was always just that wouldn't be good for a kid to be exposed to. Anyway, getting back to Bob. So Bob was the kitten. And then I had 20 years with my kitties. Well, my kitty that from that litter. This is supposed to be a small tangent. I'm going to cut that off there. We're going to circle back because it might lace in later. There's just so much that's been popping off and connecting listeners that this is why it's been hard to think about having a coherent podcast for you guys. I mean, I guess if you've been listening to this podcast for a long enough time, I don't know if you're really looking for coherency. I think definitely if you've been tattooed by me, that is not an expectation that you even hold me to. I just really want so badly to share with you guys all the cool insights and things that have come to me. But getting back to the name Bob, beginning and end, same coming as going. We have a friend. Rico has a friend through the pizzeria, this guy named Bob. And he's like in his 80s, cute old man, I guess. I mean, I've never seen him. But he just gives us bags, like Boskov bags, full of just stuff. It's all new stuff. It doesn't look like anything is wrong with it. I don't know why Bob has all this stuff. I don't know where it came from. I don't get it. But recently Rico brought home another Boskov bag. This time it wasn't plastic though. It was a paper bag, and inside of it were really cool things this time. I mean, sometimes they're all really cool. It's just that, like, the things this time, I feel like I said, gifts from God, giving it to God. God gives back. I mean, it's all just very cyclical, the beginning and the end, alpha and omega. Like, you give, you get. And so that is really the message of this. But I'm going to post it along with this podcast. I don't know if you guys are going to feel or get from this anything that I do, but he gave me both a t-shirt with a teddy bear on it that's done in this very like pop arty kind of style, very street art style, but it means so much to me. I can't even tell you. And it is the size that my husband could wear, but he has no interest in wearing it. But I do. And it has the words endless hustle on it. And there's just this teddy bear with one wing and a smiley face on his belly. And his stitches are very pronounced. And, he's got like the X's over his eyes instead of buttons. So it's just kind of like he's, I don't know, a symbol of something bigger. The side of him, there's like little stuffing coming out, and his frame is like dripping, and there's like little, what would you call them? Explicatives. That like symbols of like, movement, and there's like a caution thing behind him. He's wearing a crown. There's a sun in the corner. Let's see. What else there's a money symbol over here, and like the S's of endless look like also they were kind of tagged to be money as well. And then there's like this like electric shock coming out of the other side, kind of like parry off of the wing. Like it's a very cool graphic and shirt. And it's huge. And I'm happy that it will be huge on me because I've been enjoying loose things. And then he gave us, I don't even know what this thing is. It's just makes me happy. It's like this little plush flat dude. He looks like a bear, but he's, I don't know what, maybe you guys will know what he is. But in the middle of him, he's got these stitches right in the center of him. And when you flip him over, he's got the cutest butt. Like just the cutest little butt. And I don't know, I told Rico, I was like, this is like the plush toy of my knee. I feel like this is like my knee in a stuffed, not overly stuffed, just this flat, like fuzzy, soft, really nice teddy that I don't know what it is, listeners. I don't know what it is. Bob gives us a lot of things that I'm just like, what is this? And then there's been so many great gifts, like unexpected gifts from other people in my life. My neighbor, Debbie, she wanted to catch up with me. She brought me over flowers that are beautiful. I'm going to post a picture of them too. They're still going strong. I got to give them more water, but they're going strong. And then my friend Tara, she, not only is she going to go into business with me, her business, the Prism Hollow, but she is just such a miraculous human. I was sick before my surgery, like the week before, and I was mad at Rico. I was pretty mad because he got me sick. He didn't appreciate me putting it on him, but he got me sick, and I was just mad because well, first of all, I was scared first because the impending surgery, it's like the biggest I've ever known. I didn't know what to expect. There's lots of risks. Like you could get nerve damage. There's like no promises that this is going to fix anything aside from just getting out what's in there. And, just going through all the pre-op rigmarole, the blood tests, the labs, the x-rays, the MRI, all this crap they need. They rejected my surgery at first, and then I had to like push for an appeal, inform my doctor. I mean, so much communication on top of the fact that I was going regularly to the chiropractor to get adjustments, to get red light therapy, to get stim and dry needling and all these things just to keep the rest of my body from freaking out and to lower inflammation. Just just getting sick for me was so upsetting. So I show up to work because I'm not stopping. I'm like, I got shit to do. I have this studio I'm trying to bring about. Like all of this is frustrating. I don't know why, I do know why. There's like a purpose for every setback you have. If you're being asked to slow down, then there's a reason. But I didn't like it at that point. And I think the thing that was bothering me at that point was just the idea of my surgery being delayed any further. So I went from scared about it to being upset at the very idea of it being delayed any further. And Tara, she has been coming in and working on her setup. We're getting ready to host her, and she's got a whole area of the studio where we're going to be displaying her stuff. And she looked at me and she's like, "Why didn't you tell me you were sick? I could have helped you. You need elf doc." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "I got stuff for you. We're going to go back to my house and I'm going to give you some." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I followed her back. And by this time, guys, like I've been on a cold tile floor. I'm struggling. My face is hurting. There's so much congestion and bullshit in there. And I'm and I'll be lying if I wasn't just like making it worse by being a little ticked off. And ticked off just in general. I mean, I couldn't blame my husband that much. You get sick, you live, somebody gets sick. I just was kind of irritated at that point. And, so we drove to her house and she gives me this elf doc, which is called elecampane. And it's a root that you dig up. It's a plant. It's plant medicine. Tara knows plant medicine. And what it is a flower, an herb that you grow, and you have to let it grow for 2 seasons until it blossoms. And then when it blossoms and it kind of pulls itself back, it kind of dies off. That's the time that you dig up the root and you use it to make this tincture. Holy God in heaven, and Tara, this stuff, you take like 5 to 10 drops of it 3 times a day. Every time I'd use this, my face would just instantly open. It's incredible. It's incredible. Like I'm convinced that she helped heal me. And then, post-op, I mean, she's just fabulous anyway. She's shared all these amazing videos with me. One that I've just been making the rounds with because I want everybody to see it. I cannot wait until I'm outside and just able to run up to, well, maybe not run, but I'll walk, walk normally up to a tree and just touch it. But she gave me this amazing video about the science of trees and why touching them is so good for you. And, I've heard the whole take your shoes off and put your feet in grass thing for grounding. But, the problem with putting your feet in random grass is there's lots of parasites and shit that can get in through the cracks of your feet. And if you don't know where you're walking or at grass, there's chemicals and all this stuff. But trees, trees in general are pretty intense, and they kind of do the same thing. They do the same thing and then some. So she gave me that, and then post-op, she sent me 2 gifts, one of which I've been trying to get a hold of forever. I've been trying to grow it, but I think I might have bought the ornamental version of it, not knowing that there was 2 different kinds, rather than the root version of it that is medicinal. But comfrey salve. Comfrey is, it's a bone balm. It like helps knit back bone. And on top, just so you guys, I mean, there's no sense to like some of this, not that I know of. But when I got denied from my surgery at first, I read the denial letter, and it's from this contracted company that CareFirst uses, I guess, to review its claims. And what they said was that they go off of certain procedural qualifications for whether or not something is in a certain scope. What I needed was a synovioectomy. A synovioectomy is just the removal of the tissue that is surrounding the knee, in and around the knee and the knee joint. Now, when you get a knee replacement, they also do a synovioectomy because they have to in order to get the new knee in. When you get a synovioectomy, under the like prescript for approval, apparently there's this, it's called the Kellgren-Lawrence scale, and it goes from 1 to 4. And that is, it's a range of degradation to your actual bone itself. And I saw that in this report that I was above what they would consider appropriate for a synovioectomy alone. They didn't give any other observances or recommendations, but when I read it, I was like, oh, there's too much damage to my bone itself, which in the x-rays, you can see that I have deterioration of my femur a bit. And there's, my surgeon showed me there's no cartilage behind my kneecap. There's a little erosion on my kneecap. So there's some definite, bone deficiency, but my surgeon's really good. He's been doing it for a long ass time, and has a number of the cases like mine to know what he's talking about. And more, he's an oncologist. He works with really dire situations. I mean, he works with cancer most of the time. So, I'm just looking at this report, and, they say that it's like reviewed by a specialist and all this crap. And I'm like, really? Because I've met lots of old doctors that have been in the game for a long time and told them about my condition, and they don't have a clue. I've talked to new doctors that are straight out of college with fresh information and the latest and greatest in technology and insight, and they don't have any clue. Like, they know what the words mean. They know what it is, but they've never encountered it, and that's how rare it is. So I knew that this couldn't possibly, and just the idea, guys, of having to have a third party between you and the specialist that you are actually working with, that you are entrusting your body to. I mean, imagine if I had to submit, like, if you being my client, my tattoo client, had to submit a prospectus from me as your tattoo artist, a synopsis and projection of the work that we're going to do. And then some fucking insurance company comes back and says, yeah, we don't think they need this. We think that they need this, and we're not gonna, you'll have to submit an appeal if you really want to push for that. But the delay in help and everything. And I slow down my tattoo process quite a bit for what even I think most of my clients are used to. So imagine if it was even more delayed. And, we're talking about tattoos that are not necessary, but, what if the entire time, you were kind of in some level of pain, waiting for this? I mean, apart from emotional or psychological that you might feel bound to in getting the tattoo itself, imagine if somebody, it's already hard to commission somebody else outside of yourself to do something like that. But then to have this third party who's just, I mean, the entire concept of insurance at this point is just so obnoxious to me. I'm like, so... I mean, it's exhausting. It's meant to be exhausting. It's not meant to help us. And I could have a whole other podcast ranting about that, and I'll spare you. But basically, this bone salve, I've been trying to grow the damn thing to make it. And I know there's other things out there, but Taryn has a really great audit meter of like, what are good products, what seems like a good company. And so she got me this salve. It's so great. It's from DNA Organics, and it's comfrey sal. It's a poultice. And once my stitches are out, which that will happen on the 25th, so we're getting close, a few more days, I can start, putting this salve on there. And, it's for everything. It's for your joints. It's for your overworked muscles, your hands, your feet, your back, your shoulders, your skin itself. It's a really great salve. And I've heard that it is incredible what it can do, what comfrey can do. It can repair bone. So I'm hoping for it, because I didn't get a knee replacement. And that's what I was wondering, if I was told I was a level 4, which is 1 to 4, this Kellgren-Lawrence scale. So I'm already at a 4. But my surgeon assured me that he was able to bend my leg, that you would only need a knee replacement if you couldn't walk. He was like, now that I've bent your knee, you should be able to walk. He didn't mention that there was like massive erosion of my meniscus. He did say I did not have cartilage behind my kneecap. So there is like bone on bone there. But yeah, I'm going to throw everything at this, guys. I'm going to try and do everything I can to not be back under the knife anytime soon. And look, it might still happen. There are no guarantees with what I have. That I know. That I absolutely know. By the way, I am feeling the pull of this stuff on my face. I have this, it's a little wink to John Simmons, my dearly departed friend who asshat took himself out. So I'm still mad at you, John. But he put me onto this green tea, face mask. And so I've just been in all kinds of healing, all kinds of get it out of me. And, looked at my pores this morning and I was like, whoa, that needs to be helped. So I have, as I'm talking to you guys, I have this green tea mask on. I look like a lunatic. I will take a picture of that too, just because this entire journey, I don't know how much shame I had before. I mean, my ass is naked on the internet. But I don't think I have anymore. Again, I cannot compare this to having a baby. But what I can say is that the unabashedness, the willingness to just hang all out and just like everything in you is like, I don't care. Get it out of me. Like it's ready. I've cooked it long enough. It has been in there long enough. Now get it out. Like, get it out. And that was the feeling. And it was without any kind of care as to what I had to go through in order to do it. And then by the way, I might pause at some point in this. Maybe I'll create like a shout out, but Rico will probably come home at some point during lunch and might possibly interrupt the podcast. But after the surgery, I just was like, I mean, I came out of it and it was much different than the other situation I had been through. The only other quote unquote surgery that I had was laparoscopic, and I did get put under, but it was when I got my tubes tied. So it was not like that with that. I was out until like they already had me rolled into the like recovery area. I didn't wake up until then. I was out so deep. This time I woke up as they were like finishing up, and like they were just throwing all these warm blankets on me. I was like shaking and freezing, and I know that you got to be in these really cold rooms in order to do these surgeries. just so you know, before I was knocked out, I had such confidence in my team, guys. Like, shout out to Hopkins, shout out to Dr. Abulafia. Albert Abulafia is phenomenal. He doesn't have all sparkling reviews, and I think it's because he's just a no BS kind of guy. And he's also got an amazing sense of humor, which I guess for some people who are genuinely scared, that can just seem dismissive. But I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. And it was perfect for me. It's like everything that I'm used to. And, you know, he didn't promise me anything. He was very clear about what he could do and not do, what to expect. He gave good advice, I think, the whole way, and advice that I kind of agree with. And yeah, again, if that's not your vibe, it's not your vibe. You know, the biggest issue though is everybody keeps saying, I have a lot of problems with things that are like, well, what do you feel? Like, what are you feeling? I'm like, I don't know what I feel, man. I've never done this. Like, what do I feel? I'm able to get up. Should I get up? You know, like, I'm able to. Like, there's car accidents that you go through that the last thing you want to do is move, because if you have any kind of internal damage or anything, if you move, you could completely die afterwards. You could bleed out. They say that you should just stay where you are until emergency services get there and they can handle you. So, like, getting up or just doing things when you don't know what you're doing yet, that's not advice. So, you know, there was a lot of unknowns that I kind of just took as they came. And when I came to, I was just so grateful. And my leg felt weird. It felt like it needed to straighten a little bit more or something. But it was fine. And I went out and came back in. What I loved about the care team, though, is when I got into the room, there were so many people there to help me, so many doctors. There were student doctors. Again, Johns Hopkins, love it. Everybody introduced themselves to me. Several doctors, including my surgeon, specifically signed my knee. In fact, I don't think I have it anymore, but for a few days after my surgery, one of the doctors, I think his first name was Mark, but I don't remember his last name. He signed my knee because, you know, they want to work on the right knee. And so, you know, I've been tattooed. I've never been signed before, you know? So it's pretty interesting to, I don't know, go through all of that. And they had a great playlist. I remember that going into it. Like, they commented on the playlist and who was doing the playlist. And I don't remember his name. I wish I remembered more of these names. They were all such blessings, angels. Like, Hopkins is awesome, guys. I need to write reviews for all that I can remember. Hopkins, Abulafia, everyone. My mom already wrote a review for Abulafia. She was like, that guy was awesome. Is awesome because he's still with us. But yeah, praise God. But yeah, like, the entire place, and just, I remember as I was, like, you know, going under and breathing in and everything like that, just the energy of the room, the people that were in there, they had hype, you know, like, they were ready, and you could tell that they were just in their element, and I just felt good. I felt ready and just in it. And throughout this whole thing, guys, I've just been giving it to God. Like, a key person. Well, first of all, but when I was freaking out about everything, I called upon people that I knew would pray for me. Like, people who have always prayed for me. Like, when my cats were struggling, they would check in. I just went to all of the friends. You know who you are. They got a really long audio message, and it was me just kind of freaking out, like, saying, I need you to pray for me. I need you to help me. You know, ask God. Sorry if I'm going to cry, listeners. There might be a few times. I hope I don't cry off my mask. Make more of a mess. But I was like, I just need strength. I need strength and courage. And what I really, really want from all of you is please, 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 like, I want this to be gone. My doctor says that he feels like it more than likely will come back. But I want a miracle. I want God to give me a miracle. And I want my doctor to be wrong. You know, I don't doubt him in anything that he says he can do for me surgically. That I know he is masterful at. But the future, the things that will follow me outside of that surgery room, I want God to touch. And I want it to be gone for as long as possible. Because I have so much, listeners, so much that I want to make happen. And this has taken so much of my energy and so much, I don't know. It was just, what it has taken is also given. You know, God is good. I have been dealing with this in the only way that I can, which is with gratitude. Gratitude for the humility. Gratitude for the perspective. Gratitude for the understanding of all of my friends who deal and suffer with chronic pain all the time. Understanding how much pain takes from you. Like, it just zaps you, man. Like, bad. I mean, it was having me lose weight, listeners. I was like, I've been the least active in my life, and I was dropping weight at one point that kind of was scaring me because I wasn't doing anything. Now, granted, you don't have an appetite that much when you're in pain. So, you know, because like all the resources are going to like just combat this, and all you want is sleep. Like just rest. Just for it to stop for a moment. And so I was grateful for all of that. But I was just praying to all my friends. And honestly, like, once I kind of geeked out, once I kind of like sent those long messages and kind of got the, I don't know, whatever it was in me out. I don't know, there was something about asking for that from my friends that made it better. Like just letting them hold that for a second, and knowing that they would hold it, they would pray about it, they would ask God for it, and that it would be fine. And a lot of them were cool. You know, some got back to me fairly quickly, but most got back to me like a couple of days later, because I think that they knew I was freaking out and that I was going to be freaking out for a little bit, which was prudent. And one of my good friends, John and Courtney, they're great prayer warriors. And I was on the phone with Court and kind of assuring her that I wasn't freaking out anymore, really. But, you know, just talking to her and thanking her for calling me back and all of that. And then her husband, John, you know, he got on the phone because I left a message for both of them. And he gave me this beautiful piece of advice, which has followed me throughout this entire journey. In fact, the first church service that I was able to attend after my surgery was all about really not worrying and putting on the armor of God. And, you know, we started, I think, with truth and just exploring that. But it was all about not worrying, to armor up and to know that God's got you, you know? So John gets on the phone and he's so succinct. when he wants to be. He was in the middle of a task, so for him to have given any time to me, but he was like, look, it's fine to be scared, but you cannot worry. And I was like, can you break that down for me? Because I'm not so sure I get what you are saying. And he's like, well, it is scary. You know, what you're doing, what you're going into is scary. There's a lot of unknowns. So I can understand you being scared. You know, it's scary, but you can't worry, because worry is silly for us because we have God and we know that God's going to take care of us, right? And it just kind of checked me. It was the thing I needed to hear. And my husband is always saying, when you worry, you die twice. And here's the thing. People who are in Christ were born twice, but only die once. Those who choose to not take salvation risk the second death, the eternal death, which is, you know, bleak, to put it mildly. But with us, we only have to die once, and then we're offered eternity. So when you worry, you are actively denying God. You're denying God's promise that he's got you, that you have eternity with him, that you have love and support and all the things that you're going to need, that you would not be carrying this cross if you were not being set up for your own greatness, for great things. You would not have this if you were not capable and it was going to be successful. So that really helped me, really, really helped me. And so afterwards, getting back to just being shameless, you know, I had nurses, and my first one, the overnight nurse, was a male, and he was lovely. I believe his name was Aaron. Really nice guy. Both him and his wife were nurses. And, when I got out of surgery, man, I didn't give a shit about nothing. I didn't care about my hoo-ha. I didn't care about my boobs. I didn't care about nothing. I was just like, yep, whatever we got to do to get me from that bed to that bed, fine. I don't care about much right now. I'm just so happy to be on the other side. And Aaron was amazing. And, you know, the nurses, they got to like watch you. Like, he had to assist me the first time going to the bathroom. Cause I didn't know if I could get up. I didn't know, you know, he had to bring in a walker for me, and my fat ass was sticking out the back of this gown. I know Aaron saw everything. In fact, I think every nurse in there probably saw everything. I don't care. Like, that was so beyond caring. It was wild. And I've talked to doctors before. Like, I've gone to certain doctors, and they've talked to me, and they're like, you don't have kids? And I'm like, no. And they're like, I mean, you have like the kind of personality that people with kids have. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, I mean, you're not bashful about taking your clothes off and letting us see what we need to see. It's rare for anybody who has not had children. And my whole thing was like, well, you're a doctor, right? Like, you know, like that certificate means that you are a doctor, right? And they're like, they laugh and they go, yeah, but like, it doesn't matter what I am in terms of what you feel. It's just some people are way more caged about that stuff, and you're not. And so again, God, thank you for my lack of boundaries, I guess, which does bring us to like the next, I guess, points of this. So they got a lot out. I'll repost it. I don't know. They'll probably put a proviso on it or like fuzz it out so that people don't get grossed out. 'Cause it, you know, I don't think it's too gory. In fact, when I saw the crap that came out of my knee, which I was so grateful, I was like, please. My surgeon was like one of the last people I talked to before I left the hospital. And I just kept waiting and waiting. I'm like, when am I going to see him? When am I going to see him? I'm like, I hope he took pictures. Please, God, let him take pictures. I want to see what was in my leg. I want to see it. And I've never, like, I would never be the type of person who would watch the surgery beforehand. Just because, I don't know, it would give me too much anxiety about what's happening. But post, on the other side, when everything's wrapped up, it was like facing a murderer of somebody that I loved. It was like staring down a villain that had been my story and convicting it and seeing it, out and in the light and exposed and just being able to say, fuck you. And even like seeing my leg open up was so wild. So how do I expedite this? Because I could go on and on, listeners. I really, really could. So I have stairs in my home, a lot of them. I do not have a bathroom on the main level. There is a lot of anxiety about that. I've never been through this before, so I didn't know what to expect. So I didn't know what I would need. I know that I lived for like 9 months with my leg just completely frozen and locked in a mild bend. It was not really it was like a light bend, but couldn't bend further and could not fully straighten. And I had been existing like that in my home with stairs at all this time. So I was kind of like, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what will be required in this recovery. Nobody can give me any kind of idea because all the people I know, they have normal stuff. Like they've had knee replacements. They've had, mild surgery on their knee. Like they don't. And most of that is completely different than mine because what they say is that they have you up and moving right away. Like you have to move the joint right away. That is not how this is going for me. I can't move my leg for like 2 weeks. I mean, like I said, I get my stitches out on the 25th. It's front and back. They don't want me bending it until the stitches are out. So I'm not moving until then. But like, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't know. I knew I would have a drain in my leg. That was a little bit of an issue, not much, but I didn't know. I had no idea. So my parents offered to host me at their house for my recovery because they have a master bedroom, bath, and that leads out to a big deck. And they live in the back of the woods. So I was like, okay, well that, I had to think about it because, my parents have been dealing with a lot. My dad just kicked bladder cancer. They opened him up and got all that out and was able to remove it all. So hallelujah, he's going to be great. But he just got over that. Right after that, a pipe exploded above their garage and completely flooded their garage. So they had to gut their whole garage, and they had construction people that they were coordinating with. And then it was the matter of driving into the city, which is where Hopkins Hospital is. And my dad's cool, but like my mom's not. My mom can't stand it. And the problem with all of it is that my husband's like my mother. Like he hates the city. He's never driven in there either. So we would have had to call on somebody to get me in and out of there anyway, just because, like both my mother and my husband particularly, don't drive in the city. So and needing to call on certain people to get me there and get me back was an ordeal in itself. The garage, that's the only thing I can say about Hopkins Hospital is that garage is a nightmare. And if you have anything bigger than a compact car, God love you. I mean, my dad was able to park, but man, was it all tight. So, and then it's like a maze, this hospital. I mean, like you have to report this building, this floor. We were on a totally different floor. Once we got inside, it was amazing. A security guard named Anaya, I do remember her name because I know an amazing Anaya. She escorted us to our floor and where we needed to go, and she was incredible. She helped the check-in ladies that we ran into get our badges and get us set up. And it was just, I mean, as soon as we were inside, everything was magic. It was wonderful. Every single person in Hopkins is crazy awesome. Every single person that I came across, they were all amazing. Pre and post, reception desk, everyone, they were all wonderful. So I stayed with my parents afterwards, and this is where I'm going to kind of just preface. It wasn't good. I mean, I took them up on their offer because they offered it, for one. They're my parents, too. And the setup of their house was a lot more accommodating to what I was going through than my setup was at my house, because I have quite a bit of stairs to go up just to get into my house, and then quite a bit of stairs to get up into the upper levels where I would be staying. So those were the hurdles that I was kind of assessing, or factors. But I'll say this, like, I think there was an equal amount of anxiety in the hearts and minds of everyone for me to do my recovery at my house, as there was later finding out from some people the idea of me staying with my parents. Like, there was equal worry, and we shouldn't worry, right? But there was equal anxiety about that. The same word, really. So it wasn't good. It wasn't horrific, not even remotely. I could tell that everybody was trying. I know there's a lot of love there. I just, how do I explain this without dishonoring my parents or disrespecting them? Because that I do not want to do. I guess what I can say is it was not good and good at the same time. The entire time was a trial, so much more than I expected or wanted it to be, especially trying to recover after what I did. I felt like I had to defend myself so much more than I should have been asked to in every way. Thank God I had gone through the Rubicon of shamelessness, because I mean, there was one point where I hadn't had a bowel movement in like days, and I'm taking all this stool softener that they give you, like 2 different kinds, and it's not working. And my mom keeps offering me food, and I keep going, lady, I don't know if you can understand this, but it's not coming out. So the more I put in, it has nowhere to go. It's gonna come up the other end if you keep insisting that I eat. I don't want to eat anything. So I got a few tips from friends about, what to do beyond the stool softeners, and prune juice proved to be effective. I also got smooth move tea, which I love. I keep in my house. Typically I ran out of it, but Rico he went on 2 separate runs to the store to get me, what I requested from friends. So, 2 different grocery runs to get my bowels moving. But when I felt like I was finally going to go, it's hard to get up and moving and go to the bathroom. Not to mention, I'm exhausted because if you haven't had a bowel movement, you got to drink all this water just to try. And then it's not making you go, it's making you pee, but it's not making you have to poop. So, I'm exhausted, and you just get to the point that it's so hard to like make all these little movements that, going into the bathroom, once this was happening, I didn't care about closing the door. So like straight up pooped in front of my mom and my husband. I did not care. But like neither did they like walk out or give me some privacy, which is essentially, I think, listeners, what I can report. So the entire time I was really just annoyed in so many ways. I had zero privacy. I was grateful for this opportunity. But when I tell you that I had to keep reminding myself to be grateful, that is not an underestimation. Like the internal dialogue for me was like, just stop, have gratitude, have gratitude, have gratitude, have gratitude. This is, you were not going to have many moments like this. You have both your parents. Like, this is an amazing thing to be offered. Just be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. I know it sucks, but be grateful. So I kind of just kept giving it to God, like all this internal like stuff. And my mother and I don't have an easy relationship. We never have. My dad and I have, but my dad was, he was busy. He had just gotten over cancer. Like he wasn't sticking around very much to like, be in the room with me, which in all honesty, that was fine. I appreciated the silence and the quiet, but I didn't get the silence or the quiet because when he wasn't in the room with me, my mom was. And I just kind of was at the mercy of so much that is not my way anymore. If I'm to put it in a very broad stroke way without, framing my parents as any kind of villain, because that's the last thing I want to do. I know they love me. I know they care for me. I know that they tried really hard. And I know that it hit a wall. But it kind of broke something else and ripped something else out of me, listeners. Because I kept giving this to God. There was one night after it was really bad, the last night that I spent, that I woke up and I realized that everything that I was in at that point was a macro version of my time as a child. And I had this like epiphany that I was right back to where I was, that I was being treated like a child. And I'm 44, I'm going to be 45. But that the way that this all was going down was all the different shit that I had forgotten about. It's been decades since I've lived with my parents. And since 2011, I've owned my own home, and it's been my sanctuary. It's been something that, has seen a lot of relationships come and go. But now that Rico's here, it's ours, and it's our sanctuary. It's our peace. And we have respect for each other in our privacy. Like, there are things that Rico will not touch. Like, if I've told him, nope, that's for me, that's not for you. It's mostly my journals that I write from church, my reflections on certain things, my observances, Bible verses I love, little things that come up during service, but it's all nonsense. Like, I don't even know if it's coherent, if you'd be able to read it. But it's my way of like being present during the service and taking certain things down and just kind of marking it as it happens. And I feel like it's like a way to kind of participate actively with what's happening, and God and everything, and just kind of letting it all connect and flow through me. So he picked it up once, and I said, "Give me that. You can't look at that." He said, "Why not?" And I was like, "Because it's not for you. That's for me and God. You won't understand it, and you don't go to church with me, so you would have no context for any of this, none of this. So it's just not for you. Just stop. That's mine. That's mine and God's." And really, most journals are, right? Like, it's a way for you to kind of like get it out of you in some way and lock it in a space that's yours. Well, my whole life, listeners, I've not had that. I've not had that. I can honestly say that I conquered childhood trauma, this surgery. More was taken out of me by God than the shit in my knee. And I think I might understand too a little bit more about what created all that shit in my knee. Now, the body is weird, and the body, mind, soul connection, I think it's all a relevant thing. I have speculation that these little loose bodies that my body likes to create, these little cartilage pieces that calcified and took away my leg, were a manifest of things that I carried with me and ways of dealing with situations that were really bad and that should not be practices, that should not be carried that long. And the level of pressure and compensation that my body was going through, that's just how my body dealt with it, to put it mildly. So but I was laying there in it was after a terrible night, and I had an anxiety dream. It was a terrible night. It ended with a terrible, happening. And then I just gotten through like pooping and not being able to poop, and then getting off these painkillers, which are, I don't get it. Like, I get not wanting pain, but I don't get liking those painkillers. Anything that robs you of the ability to poop and enjoy food, I don't understand. I would imagine you'd have to have a lot more pain than I've ever experienced. I'll just say that with compassion and respect for the fact that there are people that have had that. So, I didn't want to drug myself to sleep because that's kind of how I'd been doing it. So I took an Advil PM, because I figured it wasn't as intense as the Oxy, and it wasn't, it had a sedative in it, unlike the Tylenol, which was just for pain. And I really wasn't in that much pain. So the anti-inflammation of the Advil plus the sedative seemed like a good idea, until I took it and my body started to have a panic attack because it hadn't actually like emotionally calmed down from everything. So now this drug is like lulling me to sleep, but my whole body is in panic. So I have a panic attack. Nobody knows, by the way. Everyone has gone to sleep. So this all is happening and like late at night. And then I sit up, I rock myself to sleep. I start doing deep breathing. I know what's happening. I know I can't breathe because I'm having a panic attack. And so I start breathing really well, and then I don't know what happened. I fell asleep. But then I had this horrific anxiety dream based on everything that just happened. And so when I woke up, I was like, fuck, I mean, guys, I could only manage 4 hours of sleep at a time, and then I'm up. And then getting back to sleep was not easy. And then my parents are in a completely different schedule than I am at my home, which granted, their schedule was typical of mine before I met my husband, but ever since I met Rico, everything's been moved to later in the day and later at night. And that is not my parents' way. They're up at 4, 5 in the morning and not quiet about it. So not that they would know, that both of them can't hear. So they don't even know how loud they're being. So it's a lot. And I wake up from this anxiety dream and I'm just looking around, and finally, guys, though, it was quiet and kind of beautiful. It was that early dawn, and it was about the time that they usually woke up, but I think it was such a taxing emotional night for everyone that they slept in a little bit. So I'm sitting there and I realize that even though this is their bed in their master bedroom, I'm laying in the bed that was my childhood bed because I had a queen size canopy bed as a child. And the room that I'm in it's kind of set up like my room was when I was a child, where there's this hall that leads into the living room. Only in my childhood, the hall was a lot shorter and everything was a lot smaller. Room smaller. I didn't have a bathroom to myself. None of us did. We all shared a bathroom in my childhood home. To say we were on top of each other would be an understatement. But the one thing everybody else got that I didn't was a door. I never had a door on my childhood bedroom. I wanted a door. I kept asking for a door. But I never had one. And, I'm going to say this and tell you guys that when I say I'm not mad about this, I'm not even mad about it being my experience, but it was my experience. I just didn't have privacy and personhood allowed for me growing up. I was kind of always treated like an ungrateful little shit. And I look, in some ways, I get it. I probably was. Kids tend to be very self-involved. Rightly so, right? But I was pretty much always made to feel like I was ungrateful. And so to feel to keep reminding myself throughout this whole thing, be grateful, be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. I've had, if you've listened to the podcast, I've been institutionalized. I've had a nervous breakdown. I've had 14 years in and out of therapy. My therapist passed away in 2018. Thank God, because I would never have wanted her to go through the COVID era of bullshit. Though I will say, I do think Alex could have put to task a lot of this affirmation crap that they're doing right now in therapy. That isn't good. But I don't know. I don't know. She wasn't practicing at that time. And, so I have had all that. And now I've come to God and, after Alex passed, I had this overwhelming sense of gratitude for just my life, like everything. And just this revelation that like, I had been kind of ungrateful, and I had kind of made, not kind of, I made my mother the villain of my story. And I started thinking about all my friends who didn't have moms anymore. And so I was like, oh, that's bad, right? Like, not only do I still have a mother, but I have a mother that put me in contact with someone who could help our relationship, that could like save it. And she cared enough to put me in therapy and to go to therapy and hear a lot of nasty things that I had to say. And we duked it out, and, we struggled for years, and, still not perfect, but in a lot of ways, but like, she's still here, and she still loves me, and she still tries, and I still try. And, it's a blessing in so many ways that I can't even, in fact, I owe my mom in a big way, a huge way, for coming to God, like really coming to God. First, it was just like, who the hell are all these people that she hangs out with every week? I wanted to get closer to her. I wanted to try at least, and I couldn't find time. No time was ever made. So I was like, well, maybe if I just go and do what she does, she's already doing this. She's already dedicated to going to church. I'll go to church. And then I went to church, and I loved it. And then I accepted salvation, and it was everything I needed. Everything. It's already here, my next book. Okay, listeners, I've got something to share with you that I'm already in love with. I don't know about you, but I'm a total book nerd. I have so many books. A lot I haven't read, I admit. There's just something about having bookshelves full of possibilities that calms my soul. So when I attended the Pagoda City Tattoo Fest this past August for the first time, I was delighted to run into my friend Ina Vigilato. We've actually had her on our show, so go check that out. Straight away, it was like God used Ina to guide me over to Black Dagger Books. There I met Travis Lawrence and Josh Rowan, the creators of this enterprise, and got hooked as soon as I saw their product. It's these beautiful little books just full of art, amazing art from amazing tattoo artists. From here, I'm just going to read what their site says. Black Dagger Books is an ongoing collection of artists defining modern tattooing, published monthly, one artist per book, one book per month. A subscription is $25 a month. You get inside of these beautiful books, these custom stickers. Each one is filled with the most gorgeous artwork, and it always concentrates on these awesome tattoo artists. And I try to follow each one as soon as I open the book. I'm just like, oh my God. So it's really worth it. Do yourself a favor, go over to blackdaggerbooks.com, or if you're on IG, Black Dagger Books, it's all one word, and check out their product. Like I said, the subscription is awesome, and I'm really happy. This quells everything about, the book nerd in you, the art collector. It also cures any guilt that you might have about having books just laying around, because this gives back to the artist community. It's a win-win. And just so everyone knows, I'm not being paid to shout these guys out. I just genuinely love their product. And also, I really love them. The creators, Travis and Josh, were amazing. They were so kind to me. They gave me so much of their time at the Tattoo Festival. So if you ever have the chance to meet them, talk to them. They're great guys. I just can't say enough things. So do yourselves a really big favor. Go check it out. Thanks so much, listeners. Let's get back to our podcast. So my mom, in a big way, was all of that. And my pastor's amazing. So I was looking around, and in that room is, well, first, after I woke up from the anxiety dream, I realized I hadn't prayed. There's a lot of people that have prayed for me that I know are having challenges of their own. So I did my list. Top of my list was Henry and Leah. Henry is, he had a stroke. He's one of our parishioners at church, an amazing man who knows the Bible so well. And Leah, she and him both work at Wegmans, and so they always bring such beautiful things to fellowship. They're such gorgeous people, such kind people, endlessly caring and giving. And Henry had a stroke, and so I've been praying for both him and Leah nonstop, just because I want him to bounce back, and I don't want Leah to have to go through any more pain. She just lost her mom, and her mom had a stroke prior, so it's kind of like a cyclical nightmare I didn't want for her or Henry. So I was praying for them, and then I got selfish because it was just all so much, and I just started crying and saying to God, like, this is a lot, God. This is a lot. And then I started thinking about Alex, my therapist, and I was like, I know I'm not supposed to talk to the dead, and that's not okay. But I think the conclusion was I just wanted to thank God, because sitting there, I knew exactly what was happening. I knew exactly how I felt. I knew it wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. I knew that I had all the tools to manage this. I wasn't catastrophizing. I wasn't overly scared about anything like I would have been as a kid. What happened was pretty bad. And, I had to manage other people's questions in regards to it. Like, would there be retribution? Would there be retaliation? Would there be vindictive action that would follow? And I would have been scared about all that before, but I wasn't. I wasn't, because I had Alex, and I know how to handle and manage all of this. And I was just overwhelmed with gratitude for her. And I just started crying and thanking God for Alex and for this amazing gift that he gave me in her. And all of a sudden, my parents have a granddaughter clock upstairs, and it chimed the hour, which I think was like 5 a.m. And I just thought of It's a Wonderful Life. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. And I started crying more, and I started thanking God and saying, yes, yes, please, God, please. She's earned them. She's earned whatever wings are, whatever that means. She's earned it. She's earned it. And I don't know, listeners, I feel like Alex might have been with me ever since she passed in some kind of way, kind of like walking beside me and kind of advising things, making sure I was cool after she left, after she walked over. But I don't think it's not like she's not with me anymore. I think she was able to finally leave and know it was going to be okay, and that I had everything I needed, because I came to that same realization laying in that bed and looking out the hallway, and I could hear the chimes blowing outside, and I just had this immense amount of gratitude and peace, just endless peace. And then, so this is a side tangent, but I have been given the amazing opportunity. You guys know I love Black Dagger books, and I've been a subscriber of theirs for a few years now. I have quite the collection of awesome books. In fact, I just got Jason Tyler Grace's book with this fabulous Japanese work in it, and it's just stunning. And he seems like a really awesome dude too. He thanked me for shouting out his book, but ever since I met Travis and Josh, I was just enamored. And thank God for Ina, man. She is such a mystical being on so many levels, just a being of light and love and joy. I mean, just wonderful, just the perpetual smile. She introduced me to them. And so I've, every time I run into them at a convention, which was only at Pagoda City, which is no longer a thing, I would smile with them and I try to shout them out regularly. I love it. I love what they do. I love how they do it. I love how clean and beautiful it is, and the mission to, show how much art is behind each of these tattoo artists, how prolific they are. And at different phases of my life, I've felt that kind of proliferation, but not recently. So they contacted me not too long ago and invited me to be a part of their next book. And I hope I'm not unveiling anything too soon. I don't think I am. But it's going to be called Holy. And it's not religious. They said, it's non-denominational. There's nothing that we were looking for religious. We're looking for a holy experience, a vision, some kind of thing that you can take away from, meditation or something, some kind of experience like that is holy. And I've wanted to get right on it. I was so honored. I'm so stoked to be a part of this. I still am. But the idea that I had wasn't finding its way to canvas. It just wasn't. I knew what the idea was. I wanted to do a pit pony because I love horses. I feel like horses are like gifts from God itself, like themselves, them and dogs. I just think that there's so many animals that I could speak of like that, but there are some key animals that are just signature to human life and advancement in history, and horses are one of them. And particularly pit ponies, because they went into coal mines with coal miners, and often, they're right there with the coal miner getting black lung and all this crap and working long, hard hours. And a lot of times they'd go blind because they'd never see daylight. Like they'd go to work early in the morning and then be in darkness all day. And then when they leave, it was dark outside. So they just never saw the daylight. And a lot of times they would just go blind, not to mention all the debris and stuff like that. It wasn't until later that they really started caring about shielding their eyes and their face better. But that they worked with us, and they were calm and sure-footed and just really strong, and they just worked, and they did it until they dropped, most of them. And they just were diligent, faithful servants the whole time. And they knew every corner of the mine, they knew it. They didn't have to see, they knew, because that was their whole life. They knew. So if they ever needed them to get in and out or whatever, they didn't have to worry about these horses because they knew everything about the mine. That and the canary, were the two creatures that helped coal miners. And, just so you guys know, the canary didn't die most of the time. It was only when the canary would pass out that they would get the hell out of there. And they had this whole resuscitation device to resuscitate the canary. So they didn't sacrifice the canary in the coal mine. Usually it was just a helpful thing to help them know that the air there was not good to breathe and to get the hell out quick. So I was trying to do that because a pit pony kind of represents what walking with Christ is for me, or at least it was before my operation. It was I don't know. I just see that as what it is to walk with God, just diligent service. Not really knowing, not being able to actually see anything, but knowing the path and walking it, feeling it, doing it for a reason that you don't even understand why, but it is a higher calling, a higher good. I mean, think about it. Coal, it it provided so much advancement of human society and warmth and all these things that were on the backs of these people and these ponies and these canaries. Like, so that was what I wanted to do pre-op, but it wasn't, I couldn't come up with the damn composition. I couldn't get it. I kept looking at, I mean, I have like dozens and dozens of references, and I do get a little over crazy with references. I'd even communicated the idea to Gunnar, my friend Gunnar. And I don't know, just at some point I was like, maybe this needs to happen after surgery. Maybe something will be revealed once I go through this really, really incredible time of my life. It's bound to be full of lots of awarenesses and visions. And praise God, it was. So I'm sitting there in my childhood bed, and I'm looking out through this hallway, very, dusky kind of, not dusky, dawny kind of light, but still dark. And there's just like a single nightlight in the hallway illuminating this light that you can look to. And there is a door, but it's open. And it's opening up into this bedroom where on the wall is a picture of my mother and I that I had done as a part of the womanhood art event that I put on after Alex passed. And I have a similar painting of Alex and her daughter Sasha, where I am now, residing in my own home, now that I've come home. But it was all of these pictures of mothers and their children in like this Gustav Klimt fashion, and just all in tribute to mothers and this connection that they had with their babies. And so I picked this photo of my mom and me, and it's on the wall, like in their room. And it's my mom and me, Gustav Klimt, really zoomed in. And I'm a little baby, and I'm like, you can tell I'm kind of upset. Like I'm making noise, like upset noise. But my mom isn't looking at me. She isn't, I mean, it's like she's like a stone statue looking ahead with this intensity that's like, don't mess with my kid. Like a guardian. And that picture's hanging up there. There's a fireplace that doesn't have a fire. There's the canopy of my childhood bed. There's my walker. And there's just this quiet scene of looking down a hallway. And it finally strikes me what I'm going to do for the holy painting, which I'm not going to talk about. I've told a few people what maybe you guys can surmise, but what I can say is I have all the references. I took all these pictures laying there. I was completely like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Like I've been wanting this so badly. And, the pit pony would be cool. And I do want to do it still. I do want to create that. But this assignment felt, I don't know how to put it. I felt like the pit pony was like, it was kind of like everything I did as a child, to be honest with you. It was like I completed the assignment and I did it well and I got all A's, because it would have, it was always good and it was always per the assignment. But the deep, deep emotional connections to it weren't really there. They, like it wasn't mine. It was a story, a beautiful story, a story worth remembering, a story worth calling attention to, or a thing worth calling attention to, and very well done, but it wasn't mine. And this is mine. And Rico, when I told him, he was like, is anybody going to understand that? Like, I don't know if that's what they want, babe. And I was like, no, I think it's exactly what they want. And I don't really care if anybody else gets it. I don't care. It's going to be epic and it's going to be perfect. And I'm really excited to get to painting it. I know what kind of art that usually Black Dagger has. So it's definitely going to be an odd one amongst all the others, which is fine. I tend to be odd amongst the odd. And that's cool. I'm comfortable. I'm just so grateful that I now have my holy vision. And it is purely mine, purely something that I can speak to, that I have all the references for, and that nobody else, nothing else in this entire world is gonna have. Like it's not a Google picture. It's not on Pinterest, not in any way. AI has not seen this. It can't. It's all mine. So it was really cool. And when I say, listeners, that ever since, dots have been connecting in ways that I just am amazed. Like revelations are coming to me left and right. I feel a book in me. Like I've always wanted to write a book, but never knew what about, ever. I'm not even quite sure now, but words. I mean, I've already talked for almost an hour and a half, and I can tell you, listeners, I have tried to be brief, really tried. There's so much, and I have so much to say to so many people, so many gratitudes, so many things that I am just bursting to say, things that I want to enact, like just beautiful revelations, endless ideas. They're just flooding in, and I'm so excited. Like I was scared before, and Rico kept saying, "Aren't you excited? Aren't you excited?" I'm like, "No, I don't think excited is what I'd call it. It is what it is, right? Like going into surgery like that, it's not like you're getting something you want, you're getting something you need." So, but I'm glad that my husband was excited enough for the both of us. But now that I'm on the other side, I am excited. I'm very excited. And I feel like if you put it in a biblical sense, in a Christ-like sense, I feel like I've been washed in the blood. I feel like I've been renewed of mind and spirit. I feel like, in a more open way, like my soul garden has been weeded, like of the last remaining weeds that were throttling any kind of vision that I would have ahead. Like I don't even know what to call it. It was just like the last piece of that child in me that was afraid and I guess worried about not being enough, not being loved, not being accepted. It's gone. It's truly gone. And it's not gone in this way that like I don't care anymore. I like deeply care now. Deeply care in ways that are fully mine. Fully mine. And I don't, I don't, because I do care, and I am going to care about everything and everyone, and I'm not going to take the position of not caring, because I feel like not caring is a lie that people tell themselves out of a sense of survival and security, but it causes so much harm in ways that you just don't know. And it makes you have to carry so much onto yourself that you should never have to carry alone. But because you've said, I don't care, and you've just cut a lot of things off with the hope that you're going to protect yourself, you're cutting both things out. You're cutting out all the good too, and all the nutrients and all the things that your body and your mind and your soul needs in order to progress and next level. So I guess that's where I can say I am at this point. And then ever since, I've just been kind of letting God work. I had to leave my parents. It got pretty acute there. I mean, apart from like the parts that were bad for me, it was really bad for them. And it was bad for them in a lot of ways that had nothing to do with me. I think they tried to make it be about me, but you know, we all have our threshold, and when you get overwhelmed, it's really hard, really hard to keep a cool head. And just, it was one hit after another for them. So in lieu of having lots of compassion for my parents, they are in their 70s. This was a lot. I mean, my dad just got over cancer, like I said, their garage flooding, needing to move all that stuff around, having their home kind of invaded by me, even though they offered. And then their dog got sick. She had Lyme's when she first was bought by them, but she had another bout. And it really rocked her. They were really scared for her. All of us were. We didn't know what was going on until they were able to get her to the vet. So when it got pretty bad, I just called Rico early in the morning to come get me. But, you know, the dog was suffering and everybody was like pushed to the limits. So I just decided to exit because I had healed well enough. I knew at that point. I was getting more and more frustrated with how I was being treated. Like I couldn't do anything, even though I knew I could. And that too is something that is very reminiscent of my childhood. Just like people telling me what I should and shouldn't do and what I am and am not capable of, limiting me. I can't stand it. I can't stand that shit. I can't stand it when I see somebody else do it to someone else. Like, and I have done that to other people. I have given people fear or given people caution. And I hope it's always seen as giving them caution rather than like just freaking them out. I've never tried to freak people out. But I know I've laid some seeds in people's hearts that have kind of, you know, slowed them down in what they're doing. Sometimes that's good, but sometimes it can keep people from enacting something that they alone might be capable of doing. And who am I? Who am I to get in the way of what's possible for them? That's why I don't work out when Rico's working out, because he just cleared a 675-pound deadlift, and I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine that. Like, and more than that, as he's doing it and me calculating the weight, I'd be catastrophizing the entire time, which he doesn't need that kind of energy in the room. Like, no. You got to step away from people if you can't be in their arena and be on their team and be fully married to what they're doing and confident. And that's what I learned too through all this too, is that, you know, you gotta believe in your doctors. You've got to have a team. You've got to communicate to everybody. And when you do that and you work the steps and everybody's in alignment, and everybody's sharing and everybody's attacking the same goal, it can be really, really good. It can be really, really good. And guys, I never played team sports. I've always liked things that have allowed me to stay in my head. But last year and the years before, I was really just trying to be a better person and convict myself of a lot of nasty things inside of myself that I know exist. I still do that. Repenting and just trying to like clear all this nonsense in me. When I tell you that my like dreams are like, well, they were messed up. I haven't really had bad dreams since. I had one, this I can share with you guys because you kind of know my journey with my former tattoo studio. They probably won't like it if they hear this, but it's not about them. I think it's just about what we were to each other and the reality of what we were doing and what we should not have been doing. So when I finally got home, and this is, by the way, very characteristic of most of my dreams, though typically I'm kind of more the evildoer, or I'm more active in it than this. I was kind of thrown into a scene and kind of prisoner to this. It was kind of rough, but very reminiscent of everything that I just went through. And just like, I think it was God also clearing out that part too. Because I'll be honest, guys, it still is disappointing to me how it all went down with my former studio. There's so much love that I have in those connections and so many things that I wish were different. But it is what it is, like it just is. And coincidentally, two of the major players from that studio are the two tattoos that got cut into and changed with this whole knee surgery. So front and back. And I don't know what that symbolizes, but tattoos are very sacred. And when you have somebody work on you, I definitely advise that you like them, that you like them, and that you really make sure that they're the kind of person you want to mark you forever, because it's not just the mark itself, it's the energy attached to that mark. It's the person. How much are they loving you? How much are they caring about you? What are they doing? What are you doing, or what are you giving them? And, I felt like it was a really nice thing to, and it is, to give somebody skin to, stretch who they are, like what kind of art skills they have, or like, let's play together. Or your first tattoo, as in the case of Amber, who did the other tattoo it didn't get cut into, it got changed though. It's not the same shape anymore, and it won't be ever. And the whole thing is going to have like a scar going through it, which is pretty cool. But in this dream, so I get dropped in the middle of a Halloween party to which I am not dressed, and everybody else is really, really, really well. And I'm like instantly embarrassed. My leg has been operated on, and I have a walker. So I'm like not sexy. I'm not even like, I don't even know why I'm there. I'm just in this Halloween party. I mean, it's March, guys. Like, why am I in a Halloween party? So I'm in this Halloween party, and I don't know who gives it to me, but one of the party goers hands me a Depends, and he's like, here, you can be a big baby. And I was like, okay. So I put on the Depends, and as I'm putting on the Depends, I notice my leg, and I start looking at that. And it's weird because there were sutures where there aren't sutures. So like, as I was putting on the Depends, I'm noticing sutures like all the way down on my ankle. I do not have incisions all the way down to my ankle, but that's where these were. They were at my ankle, and they were like coming out. And so I was like, oh no, they're not supposed to do that. Like, but there was no blood or anything, no pain. It was just like this, oh no, that's not supposed to be happening. And I thought, because Rico's not with me, I thought, gee, Christ, Rico's going to be so upset at me. I'm at this party, like my sutures are coming out, like he's going to be upset. Like, what do I do? So I get the Depends on, and I'm just kind of like trying to, look around and take it in. And I am feeling like very embarrassed because I didn't dress up, and everybody else is so well dressed, and I'm feeling kind of alone because Rico's not there, and now I'm kind of in a position where I'm like, well, I, you know, I'm now scared to like see him because, he's going to be frustrated with me because I'm at this fucking party instead of resting. So then something like comes over me where I was like, oh no, something's really wrong. So I look down and I like unwrap my whole leg, which, throughout this, I've had varying degrees of like wrappings, but as I've gotten more and more stable, I just have my bandages. But before I had an ACE bandage and I had a brace and I had all these things to kind of help me keep my legs straight. So I take all that off and my leg is sliced up. I mean, it looks like just a hatch mark, like literally hatch mark, like tic-tac-toe hatches. Like Mike Cole has like his tattoos that create the optical illusions. That's my leg, but like really, like the flesh is like dashed in cubes and it's just falling apart and there's no sutures. Again, this is not what my leg looks like. It's not, but I'm like, now I'm really upset because now I'm like, oh my God, I'm at a party. There's no sutures. I don't know what to do. I'm like pushing my leg together and pushing the flesh together to try to keep it together, and just panicked. So then I look up and I'm like, help. I need help. Somebody help me. And this woman in this like red glow corner calls to me. She goes, oh, I'll help you. And I get over to her. I don't know how I get over to her. I like my knee is kind of a side issue because now I'm paying attention to who she is and what she is. And she's my former boss, John's wife, Jen. And she's dressed like a sexy nurse. And she's like really well done up, like beautiful, but like everything is like super, super sexy. And she's in like this red light glow. And it's like she has her own corner of this party, like just this whole corner where she's camped up and she's pretending to be a nurse. And she's got a bed and everything and like a little station. And she's like, I'll help you. And she's like super, super nice, like saccharine nice, like fake. Everything's fake. And I'm like, whoa, like, why? Like, I'm kind of blown away. Like, I'm in shock at this point because I need help desperately. And then this is like the person I run into, and I like don't know what to do. And then her kids come up who are all like older now, and they're like kissing me and hugging me. But I'm like, what the like, I'm like so not responsive because like I said, I'm in shock. Like I'm just looking at them and they're really well dressed. And I think the only one that really wasn't dressed in a costume was John's son. I think he was what he was. He's got very big voluminous hair, and I think that's the only thing I really remember about him, but he was there. But his daughter was dressed like a pixie. Like she just was like a pixie person, which she kind of dresses like that anyway, but she was there and dressed like like she was at Renfest. That was her costume. And then John shows up and he's Uncle Fester. And I know that he can look like this on some level because at one point I had dolled him up to be a zombie priest for my friend Amy D's wedding, where she never got married, but we had one kick-ass party because she's awesome and she just rolled with all the shit that happened to her. But I dressed John up as a zombie, and it was very reminiscent of that, but it was more, Uncle Fester. And his nose was really big and ugly. Like, I don't know what, like it was a different shape. His nose is large, but it's not ugly large. It's got a nice shape. This was not a nice shape. And he was covered in age spots and just, Uncle Fester. And everybody was really happy. And they were the only ones I really saw. But I remember thinking, like, this is like the last group of people that I need right now. Like, these are the last kind of people that I want to be around right now. I need help. Like, I need help right now. My leg needs help. And then I just kind of like, I guess my subconscious like kind of jostled itself into the conscious and met. And I realized that I wasn't there really. And that those were not my scars. That was not how my knee was cut up. And I was kind of like, wake up, just get up, wake up, next dream, like get out of here. I got to get out of here. And I woke up and it was a beautiful morning and I was like, whoa. And I was able, like, I've shared my dreams with Tara. She's like, I don't know, dude. She's such a soul sister. I mean, such a hand of God, amazing medicine, plant medicine, mother Adonis person. I don't know. Just incredible. I don't even know if all those words work. I think Adonis might be more male. I don't know. She's just brilliant. And so I share my dreams with her and, she's like, whoa, like you're really going through a lot, like throughout all this. There's been a lot that's been unlocked in you. And, so listeners, I knew that was long, probably really rambling, really ebbing on 2 hours. But when I tell you that this is one of like a few times that I have told this tale and it's different every time. And I'm very sorry that I didn't share sooner, but I don't know. I've just been kind of going from one person to the next, checking in with people, all these amazing people that I have in my life that have rooted for me, that have left positive remarks on my posts, who have been praying for me, who have felt this need to report back to and say thank you, answered prayers, everything. I had the blessing of going to church soon after coming home. My friend Neil from church, 77, which is so cool. 2 sevens, my favorite number, which is also another interesting thing because First Tattooed Heart Studios was 7 Vernon Avenue. So lucky 7. I also ordered, there's just so many things. So many things have been popping off, listeners, just popping off. And feeling really blessed. Really not a lot of money in the bank, but that's okay because I feel like it's going to be like gangbusters after this. The year of the fire horse is a thing. I feel movement coming. As of the 25th, I'll be getting my stitches out. I'm sure there's going to be a whole nother rife of pain there because I'm going to start PT. But I got a chariot to work to church, so I'm able to go to church per Mr. Neal. Praise God for him. I've got a whole congregant of church fellows that have been praying for me and rooting for me and loving me and just. The immense amount of gratitude, I guess to kind of wrap this and what you give, you'll get. So giving it to God, I assure you, listeners, you will get it back and then some. I've been posting a lot of things about God lately, and all of them speak some truth visually about what it is to give it all to God. And if I were to advise anyone going into anything, even remotely to the scale of mine, which there are so many people in my life that have conquered more. In fact, I feel like I owe this to her to say it. When I was really, really freaking out, my friend Terry, who I've known ever since I was in hair, her daughters, both of them have worked for my parents' business. So our families are very intertwined in our walks in life. And Terry has brain aneurysms, and she's already had to have open skull surgery, open, brain surgery to operate on these aneurysms. So she had one side when I had met her already, and showed me pictures of how she shaved her whole head and had to do this. And then she's had other surgeries like galore that just freak me out, that I'll spare you. But this is not the only thing that she's dealt with. And then recently, like of August of this past year, she needed to get the other side of her brain operated on. So both sides of her brain had been opened up at this point. And then I didn't know this until I was having my pity party for myself. I didn't know that she had actually gotten an infection in that surgical wound and had to get part of her skull removed. So then she had to heal from that. Then, and this is the post that I see after I just like freaked out about my dumb shit. I mean, it's not dumb for me, but it's dumb when you have people that and I already had people that I knew had gone through worse. I just was freaking out. Like I just was personally freaking out. But her post really girded me, and it made me suck it the fuck up and be like, look, here's this woman who has defied so much of what anyone would have proclaimed for her. In fact, certain proclamations of doctors she has completely defied. She has 2 beautiful children. She was told she couldn't have kids. So much of her life is a testimony of what we are capable of doing. And she's very, very big into her doctors, into the medical system, as far as like trusting them, working with them, and all of that stuff. And, all of those things. It's not like she isn't. It's just that she is just such a badass. And she keeps saying, she's like, I'm too big a bitch to go right now. I got shit to do. God don't want me now. I would be way too much of a headache. So like, she's just got this beautiful attitude. And everybody that I know that has had just these chronic, horrible things invade their lives and their dreams and their passions, and to watch them walk such paths with grace and smiles and beauty, all of that was there for me and gave back to me. And I just, like I said, I feel washed. I feel renewed. I feel so much gratitude. I feel so wealthy, even though I don't have much at all right now. I'm going to have to really bust my ass once I get this leg bending, but that's fine. I'm just so grateful, listeners. So if I could recommend anything to anyone, I would say, if you don't have a relationship with God, try. And if you don't believe, ask yourself why. And probe that. Probe it until, you have very secure reasons. But I don't see any reason why you wouldn't entertain trying to believe and seeking answers within that and asking yourself hard questions as to why. I mean, even people that I've met that believe in God recently, very close to me, people, as I've shared my journey and my experiences, they've admitted that they kind of are seeing some blocks for themselves that they didn't even think they had about their past and what their attachments were to God and faith and all these things, and what they felt and didn't realize was still there. So there's trauma that happens, just like, the trauma that I kind of spoke about my childhood and having to overcome that. Those things happen in church. You know, you might have a perfect family life, but when you go into a church, and I can't even imagine like going there for God and going there to connect and then getting completely and utterly betrayed and not only not feeling God, but like feeling the opposite, maybe feeling abuse. And then once that happens, most of the time you're silenced because you can't call bad attention to the church. God forbid, you know, those are holy people and the church has a reputation. You know, you can't do that. So, and that's the other thing. God, there's so much. I watched the perfect movies while I was at my parents'. Movies that if you have not seen them, please watch them. If you've watched them already, as I have, which I'll tell you the ones I've already seen, I would say watch them again. I watched, I have to look up the name of one of them, but the big one that I had never seen that I thought was incredible was Taking Chance. Go watch it. Have some tissues. I don't know what kind of person you are if you don't cry, but ooh, I don't know. I'm not going to comment because I cried the whole time, and not bad in a bad way, in a very just, it was beautiful. I don't know how to say it. It wasn't happy. It wasn't sad. It wasn't joyous. It was just crying from sheer magnificent awe. That's what that, and Kevin Bacon did an amazing job. So definitely watch that. Then I watched, I mean, these were things that I picked out on my own. I watched When Harry Met Sally, which I found out is my mother-in-law's favorite movie. I love that movie too. If you haven't seen When Harry Met Sally, you've got to see that movie. That movie's so good. And also in homage and memoriam of Rob Reiner, R.I.P., who was killed this past year. It's one of his films, so it's good. It's really, really, really good. Movie about, let me look this up. Movie about Chicago priests. No, not protests. Priests. Investigations. It was an investigation in the Catholic Church, and it was Spotlight. If you haven't seen Spotlight, really good, really, really good. Highly informative. Touches on what I just said. Why whenever I meet people who are not Catholic anymore, I call them recovering Catholics. So I saw that one. That one my mom showed me. She showed me both that one and Taking Chance. My mom's got she's so good with art, man. Like, she's such a creative. She has such a good eye. She really has impeccable taste. I mean, just unbelievable taste in art. So I had such a great influence there. But like, her movie picker is, I mean, I will trust her movie analysis and recommendation every day, all day. Really good. I watched that, and I watched When Fools Rush In, which is so great. Again, another one that is, I mean, yeah, so I watched Spotlight, which is the like indictment of the Catholic Church. But then I watched When Fools Rush In, which is the beautiful thing of that faith and Catholics that I think have strong cultural roots in both like Latin culture and, you know, and the church, and how those two things are connected. So it's kind of different. You know, it's not the Chicago Catholics that, you know, the Irish Catholic kind of, that's what I was around in my father and what my father grew up with. So yeah. Not Chicago and here in Baltimore City, or Baltimore County rather. But Irish Catholic, much different when it's blended with a whole, I think, cultural touch. Italy has their branches, it's just, they are the branch. That's where the Pope is. But the Pope is from Chicago. So weird connections, guys. Just like shit like this is happening all the time. As I talk, as words come out, like they're just like, blah, 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 and there's like all these dots connecting. But like, if you have not seen any of those films, again, Spotlight, Taking Chance, really recommend Taking Chance. I think every person out there that is 18 and older should see Taking Chance. Do it. If you think your kid can handle it sooner as like a teenager, yes, probably not preteen. Don't think it's a good idea. You know your kid. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong, but, let them be kids, I think letting them be kids is important. Protect their innocence in some way. And then When Harry Met Sally and Fools Rush In. All phenomenal, all mattered, all were perfect for what I needed in some strange way for all of this. It just, everything was a complete and utter answered prayer, godsend, beautiful, 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 beautiful experience. That was not great the whole time, but I can say giving it to God, having an attitude of gratitude, prayer, calling on your people, not doing it alone, not trying to do it alone, not feeling like you're a burden, really. That's good to do for yourself. Don't feel like a burden. I realized that I had, my friend Terry, I think it's normal, and I think a lot of people do it, but I really kind of secluded myself when I was really hurt. I didn't see anybody. I didn't do anything. Mostly I couldn't. Everything was so much more of an obstacle, including navigating my home, that it just exhausted me too much. And, people want to fix it for you and they can't. So it's awkward for other people if they just don't know how to hang, if they don't know how to just be. And if you moan or something happens, they don't know how to just acknowledge it, but not have it be the thing that we pay attention to, because, there's moments like that just happen, but they don't have to be the whole day. And people who are dealing with that anyway, they don't want them to be the whole day. They don't even want it to be happening, period. So, it's nice when you can hang out with people who just talk to you, who treat you like a person, not like a project. And I have to say that I am so wealthy in that. I have so many people in my life like that. And I'm overwhelmed, listeners, by the gratitude that I feel after all of this, and just how miraculous this has been. So much was cleared from me. Things that I didn't even know were still there, that were still keeping me back. But we left the year of the snake, which is a big, meditative, slow moving, shed your skin kind of year. And now we're in the fire horse, and shit is popping off, and it's great. So I think I'm going to end it there. Nothing is really coming to mind or popping off yet anymore. I think I can bullet point it there. Plus, I got to get this mask off my face. My face is getting, I can't even imagine what I'm sucking out of my pores, but I hope a lot. I got to get my face cleaned off. Rika's probably going to show up here anytime anyway. I'm amazed. I mean, thank you, God. Thank you. You're so good. I'm amazed he didn't interrupt prior. I mean, it's really they must be really busy. It is a Saturday. He's been helping out a lot by working extra shifts at the pizzeria. So definitely give some extra love to Rico. If you know him and you're in our circle, he has been such a blessing, such a champion for me, and just really shining. And he's my best friend. He's my best friend, and he's going to be my best friend, I know, forever. And we're going to take this shit on together, and we're just going to do it. I feel so good in my everything right now. My home, my life, my marriage, my body. And I'm sorry, Lord, that I ever wanted something different than what I have, that what you have given me. I'm so sorry that I ever, I don't know, was ungrateful. I'm sorry. Be grateful, listeners. Just be grateful. It's all a gift. Even if it sucks, it's a gift. There's something beautiful, some blessing in it for you to get out of it. I swear to you, I guarantee you there is. And God will answer that call. He will reveal it to you. You just have to trust him. And if you don't believe, try. Try. What's the hurt? What could it do to try to believe? I mean, I hear so many people say that they envy my belief. Well, freaking figure it out, man. Pursue it. Pursue it until it happens. You know, seek it. It's worth it. It's probably the most worth it thing you could possibly have, because you can just take on anything. You can just take on anything, I know. So I love you, listeners. Thank you for this immense amount of time that you've given to this. I'm going to post this all at once, and you are free to listen or not listen, but I felt like I owed it to you to catch up. God bless you all. Have a very powerful weekend. And next week, we have CJ. CJ is a newer tattoo artist. He's, I have been delaying him for so freaking long. It's crazy. I'm sad that I haven't got to him yet, but he is wonderful. If you want to pre-follow him on Instagram, his Instagram account is ink_by CJ. And by CJ is all one word. But yeah, CJ is lovely. I mean, I just am kind of overwhelmed by how lovely he is. CJ Jarmuth is his full name. And he's in Illinois, and he's at Crimson Peak, and his apprenticeship is really cool, and so is he. He's also a musician, and if you can, give him some prayers and love and encouragement, follows, likes, maybe even a nice critique. You know, don't be a dick, but you know he is an apprentice, so you know. If you are in the know as an artist and you think you can offer him something to elevate him, I'm sure he will. I mean, he's very graceful and very respectful, and like so much of what I wish I would have been like at his time in life and coming to tattooing. But I'm so glad to meet a fresh face in the industry who does embody all of those things. So pre-shout out to CJ. He'll be on next week, and his is about 2 hours too. And we're just going to do one episode for him. So stay tuned. But I think his, I mean, this is all over the place. I think his is succinct, coherent, and you could probably follow along with it a hell of a lot easier than this. This might take a couple trips to listen to in full. But if you made it this far and you listened to the whole thing, God bless you. God love you. I am super grateful. I don't know if I've said that quite enough. But yeah, I'm just going to keep giving it to God. And I recommend you do too, listeners. No matter what. Make it powerful. Later.
Thanks for listening. You can find the Apprenticeship Diaries on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our IG is the_apprenticeship_diaries. If you would like to offer constructive criticism or an interview, drop us an email at theapprenticeshipdiaries@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from our listeners.